Hello friends, I am so excited that you're here with me today because today we're going to talk about the 5 steps you can take to reinvent your makeup routine in 2020. So if you're 50, 60, 70 or beyond, I hope you'll stay with us because these tips will be especially relevant to those of us who fall in that category. If you're new to my channel, I want to welcome you. My name is Elise. I'm a professional working makeup artist whose passion is helping those of us who are over 50 look on the outside how we feel on the inside so we can look and feel our confident best. And I want to give a special welcome today to those who are joining us from the Honey Good site as well. Thank you so much for being with us. And I also want to encourage you to become a member of our family of subscribers. All you need to do is hit that subscribe button, and if you hit that bell icon, which is below the video to the right, you'll also be notified every time we produce and air a new video. And we do them every Thursday, so I hope you'll consider doing that, and I thank you so much in advance if you choose to do so. My daughter was with us over the holidays. She's in her late 20s, and we were very fortunate to have her with us, especially around New Year's time. And we were talking about the whole concept of New Year's resolutions. And her take on it was interesting. It really resonated with me as well. She said, I don't know about this whole idea of New Year's resolutions. I think most of us tend not to keep those resolutions, and then we feel frustrated with ourselves that we haven't done so. But there is something to this whole concept of bringing closure to an old year and putting behind us the hurts, the disappointments, the frustrations, as well as the good things that happened, and really giving energy to something new that is coming around the corner with the new year. It does seem to be sort of a landmark for many of us to really put our energies towards some changes that are going to make a positive difference in our lives. And one of the things we can do is certainly give a tweak to our makeup routine, because after all, don't we all feel a little bit better when we're having a good hair day, for instance? It kind of boosts our spirits. It gives us a lift. It makes us feel a little bit more confident. And tweaking our makeup routine can certainly do the same for us. So I want to share with you today 5 tips on how those of us with mature skin can tweak our routines so we can feel even more confident in the year ahead. The first step is to take a look at our face, and this is hard to be objective, I know, but to try and figure out what our best facial feature is. Is it our eyes? Is it our cheekbones? Is it our lips, or perhaps a beautiful skin? Whatever that best facial feature is, let's give a little bit more love to it in the coming year. Let's spend a little bit more time focusing on that best feature. So jot down or put a note on your phone what that best facial feature is that you want to concentrate more attention on in the coming year. Step number 2 is to think about what is the facial feature that is most challenging. Is it your skin? Is it your eyebrows? Is it your eyes, your lips? What is it that is least attractive, at least in our own minds, to us as part of our facial area? And jot down what that is. And again, it could be your eyes, it could be eyebrows, it could be skin, whatever that feature is. And what we want to do is deal with that, give some attention to it, but not as much attention as we give to our best feature. The third step is to take a look at some recent research, a couple different research studies that give us some very important information about what helps us look our most attractive, especially for those of us who are over 50. One of the research studies dealt with a number of different subjects from all different ethnicities, trying to find out what were the things that make us most attractive to other people. And the conclusion the researchers came up with was that what's most important is the amount of facial contrast that we have. Well, as we all know, we lose that facial contrast as we get older. Our lips get paler, they get smaller, our skin gets paler, And also some things that are interesting start to change with our eyebrows as well. So we lose more and more facial contrast. The other study found that one of the most important things that we could do to look our attractive best was to even out our skin tone. So with this step, step 3, take a look at that whole concept of facial contrast. What facial feature has the least contrast with your skin? Is it your eyebrows? Is it your skin? Do you need some blush on your cheeks? Do you need some lipstick to brighten your face so there's more contrast with your skin? What is it that can help you the most with facial contrast? Or, if not facial contrast, would it help most to even out your skin tone? So choose one of those things and jot it down. Step 4 is to pull all that information together. Step number 1, your best facial feature. Step number 2, your most challenging area. The third step, the one that has the most facial contrast, is going to help us the most. So put down that step, or evening out our skin tone, one of those two choices. And that pulls all that information together for you. And the fifth and final step is to figure out what techniques and what products you're going to use to achieve the accomplishment of the goals that you set out in those 5 steps. So for instance, I've decided that my best facial feature is my eyes. What am I going to decide to do to up the ante with my eye makeup? Am I going to use eyeshadow? Perhaps I haven't been using eyeshadow. Do I want to more consistently use eyeliner? Or perhaps a new mascara might help. Or perhaps figure out how to use that eyelash curler to better curl our lashes. That's going to be the type of decisions that we're going to make. The second step for me, where the least attractive facial feature that I want to deal with, are my lips. What can I do? I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on my lips, but what can I do to improve that lip area? And then the third thing was the amount of facial contrast, the third step. What is it that we chose to do that will help increase that facial contrast, or did we choose to even out our skin tone? For me, it's definitely going to be to even out my skin tone because there are quite a few age spots lurking underneath this makeup and a few other things going on as well that certainly have changed in the past few years. So when I even out my skin tone, I'm going to consider, what do I want to use to do that? Do I simply need to put a little bit of concealer over some redness that I have in this area? Or do I want to use a tinted moisturizer, perhaps look for a new foundation that perhaps give more luminosity to my skin or gives more of a matte finish to my skin? What steps do I want to take to even out that skin tone? And do I just want to even out parts of it, or do I want to use something that helps with my entire skin area? So as you can see, I've removed my makeup and I'm going to go ahead with the 5 steps I'm going to be using to tweak my makeup routine in 2020. The first thing I'm going to do is step number 1, and that is deal with what I think is my best feature, which is my eyes. Now, as you can see, I have a lot of discoloration in my eyelid area. I have some veins that are coming through. I definitely want to give a better look to that eye area. So my first step is I'm going to take an eye primer, and in this case, I'm going to use a wonderful discovery that I found probably about 6 months ago. And it's far less expensive than a lot of other primers, and I think it does almost as good a job. It's by a company called Essence, and it's called I Love Stage. Now, the important thing for me with this eye primer is I don't want it to be clear. I want it to match my skin tone, so it will actually even out the skin tone in that eye area so that I have a nice even base to work from when I create an eyeshadow look. It's sort of like priming a room before you paint. I want to make sure that there's a nice even surface that is all the same color before I start putting on eyeshadow. So I'm going to take just a little bit of this eye base and spread it all around from the very base of my lid near my lashes all the way up to my eyebrow area. And I think for the sake of time, I'm just going to be doing one eye right now, and then I'll finish up later, obviously, with the other eye. So I think you can probably see the difference between this eye where I put the eyeshadow base and this eye where I have no base at all. Now, if I decide to go out for the day, or I'm going to be gone through the evening as well, and I don't want to take the time necessarily to do all the makeup that I would normally do on my eyes, I sometimes will just put the eyeshadow base on because it does brighten up my whole eye area and really improves the look of my eye area to get rid of the discoloration. So the next part of that step for me is to put on my eyeshadow. And I'm going to step outside my comfort zone, something that's a little hard for me to do, as it is for most of us. And that is, I'm going to try a little bit more colorful eyeshadow than I normally wear. And to be honest with you, I have never tried this look, so this will be interesting to see what happens. So I'm going to go with something that has a little more oomph to it than what I normally wear. I tend to focus on more neutral colors, but I'll share with you the palettes that I'm going to be working with. This particular palette is produced by an English company, and the brand is called Certifeye. And as you can see, we're dealing with some pretty colorful shades. They're all mattes, but there's a wonderful range of colors here. So I am going to use a little bit of that. And then I have another palette, and this is by a company called Juvia's Place. And this palette is going to provide my transition color and my eyeliner color as well. As you can see, this also is colorful. It has some beautiful shades. Some of these are shimmers and some of them are mattes. I'm just going to be focusing on the mattes today for my transition color and for my liner. The transition color is going to be these two down at the bottom, this one and this one over here. And then the eyeliner is going to be that deep dark color on the very top row. That's actually a very dark brown. So I'm a little nervous about this since I haven't tried it before, but we'll see what happens. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a brush that has some give to it, and sorry if this is causing some clinking against the microphone area, but I'm going to take a brush like this that has some give to it and has a little bit of fluffiness to it, and I'm going to use the two colors I mentioned from the Juvia's Place Douce palette. It's spelled D-O-U-C-E, by the way. I'm going to blend those two colors together for my transition color in my eye area. And then, and excuse me for looking down, but I absolutely have to be working with a magnifying mirror, and maybe some of you have to do that as well. So I'm going to start in the middle of my eye area, and because I have somewhat hooded eyes, I'm going to take that eyeshadow above the crease area so it can be seen. And you'll notice I'm using some windshield wiper motions, but I'm also using some circular motions. And that's because I also have some crepiness in that area. And by using the circular motions, that helps me catch all the skin so I don't miss anything. I'm also, if you notice, at the very edge of my eye, I'm bringing it pretty much straight across. And it becomes more like a sort of backward 7 at the outer edge of my eye. And the reason I'm doing that is by bringing it straight across, that helps lift that eye area. So there's my transition color, and I think I'm going to put just one more stroke of that transition color on there. And then I'm going to take a different brush, and I'm going to add a little bit of color. So I'm going to go into my Certifeye palette. I think I'm going to go with these two here. We'll see what happens. And I'm going to put these just on the outer edge of my eye area. Now, as you can tell, I'm not being particularly careful about how I'm placing it because my blending brush is really going to help me. And I'm going to take a little bit more of that darker color, tapping off my brush. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of the darker color right on the very edge of my eye area. Okay, then I'm going to take a fluffier brush like this one, and that's where I'm going to blend. And I'm going to always blend up. And the reason for this kind of blending is you don't want any harsh edges whatsoever in your eyeshadow area. And then I'm going to take that deep brown that was in the Juvia's Place palette. I'm going to take a little bit firmer brush like this. I'm going to take that deep brown and I'm going to put that on the very outer corner of my eye. Then I need to do something with my lid area, and what I'm going to do is take a very light color and I'm going to cover that lid area with that lighter color. Also going to take that lighter color once I've used most of it on the lid area, and I'm going to bring it up and really make sure that those edges are blended in so there is no harsh edges or lines. Well, that is a very different look for me. I'm kind of enjoying that pinky violet shade, and that dark brown at the outer corner sort of grounds that whole area as well. All right, now I'm going to use that dark brown again, and this time I'm going to take a brush like this and I'm going to use that dark brown as my eyeliner. And again, I'm going to tap it off, and I probably will get a little fallout on this, but that's easy to clean up, and that's always why I do my eyes first, as a matter of fact. Just basically stamping on that brown color at the very base of my lid. And then I'm going to take the brush and I'm going to soften that just by brushing over that whole edge. I think you can see what a difference using eyeliner makes in terms of highlighting that eye area and giving it some definition. And I'm going to take a little bit and just put some of that darker color, darker brown, just on the outer third of my eye. I am going to wait to do mascara until that eyeliner sets. Want to make sure it's not going to budge, otherwise I'd have to redo that eyeliner, which I don't want to do. And the next step for me was to do something with my lips, because that to me is the least attractive feature. As you can see, I have very dark lips, and also I have quite a full upper lip, which is close in fullness actually to my bottom lip. So I like to minimize the fullness on my upper lip. And in order to get rid of some of that deep color on my lips, I'm going to take some concealer and I'm going to just simply go along the outer edge of my lip area, blend it in. I'm also doing this because I have lines around my lip area, and lipstick tends to seep into those lines or migrate into those lines. And by putting concealer, that helps to prevent that from happening. I am also going to put one other thing on that lip area to prevent this from happening. And if, by the way, if you saw the video I did earlier for Honey Good, you would have seen me do this. I use a product that's like a waxy white product. It's made by e.l.f. It's called Lock Crayon. And I use that along the outer edge of my lips, again, to help prevent the lipstick from migrating. And the reason I put the concealer on first is that if I just put this Lock Crayon on first from e.l.f., that would leave a white circle around my lips, basically. And by putting the concealer on first, the Lock Crayon blends in with the concealer. And I'm going to just rub that in so it fills in those fine lines around my lips. Now, for the time being, I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to work on step 3, which is evening out my skin tone. That's what I decided to focus on. And to do that, I'm going to use some primer first. I'm just going to put a little bit of primer on my face, and the face primer really helps the foundation stay on longer and adhere better to the skin. And also, This is a moisturizing primer, so it adds some additional moisture to my skin, which is very helpful to me as well because I do tend to have dry to combination skin. So I'm putting on just a little dab of it. This also has some wonderful skin enhancing ingredients in it. And by the way, just to let you know, this is Eve Pearl's Priming Moisturizer Treatment. Eve Pearl is a wonderful makeup artist who's won 7 Emmy Awards. She does the makeup for the women on The View, and her products are sold on her website as well as at QVC. And by the way, I'm going to be doing a tutorial shortly on one of her eyeshadow palettes that I think is absolutely amazing and is never talked about, and it is so good. It's called the Ultimate Palette, and I'll be doing that in a few weeks. So I'm going to take a little bit of dab of foundation, put it in all areas of my face, especially toward the center of my face where I have the most redness. And then I'm going to take this, by the way, tell you what foundation this is. This is by Anastasia of Beverly Hills. This is their luminous foundation because I wanted to add a little bit of luminosity to my skin. And then I'm going to take a very large brush, buffing brush. So I finished buffing in my foundation with this Eve Pearl buffing brush, which feels wonderful on the skin, by the way. Just really feels like you're giving your skin a special treatment. So I finished buffing that in, and as you can see, I also put on my lipstick. I will tell you what I did because I needed to put lip liner on after putting the concealer on and the lip Lock Crayon. And for the lip liner, I used a Revlon Color Stay lip liner in the color Mauve and outlined my lips, and I outlined on the inner edge of my upper lip to make it look a little smaller, and I outlined on the outer edge of my bottom lip to make it look a little bigger. The next thing I did, and this is because I do have problems with lipstick migrating into those fine lines. This is not a step you have to do if your lipstick does not migrate into fine lines, but I used a matte lipstick first. And the color I used is sort of a violet color, and unfortunately it's been discontinued. Well, it was a special edition lipstick, rather, I should say, by Patrick Starr with MAC. And so I put the matte lipstick on first, but then because it's really important for those of us over 50 to add some luminosity, to have some light coming toward us, and matte lipstick absorbs light, and a more luminous lipstick pushes the light out and brings more light and luminosity to our lip area. So to get that luminosity, I next went to a lipstick that had some luminosity to it, and it was this particular lipstick made by NYX. Unfortunately, this has been discontinued as well. It is called Pink Jewel, and it gives a little bit more of a luminous look to my lip area. To add some additional light to my lip area, I've chosen a lip gloss that has almost a metallic finish to it. It's made by CoverGirl. It's called Lip Lava, and unfortunately this is no longer being made either. But there are other lipsticks out there that do have this metallic quality to them. And I added a little bit of this to my lips as well, which adds a great deal more of a luminous look to my lip area. And the final thing I did, and I went ahead and did this off camera, was I added my mascara to my eye makeup. And as you can see, I think you can see that these lashes certainly look a lot fuller and longer than the lashes on this eye. And that's because I did use an eyelash curler, which makes a huge difference. And I know they're not easy to use. They can be a little bit intimidating, but there's a trick, and I just want to quickly show you a trick. If you put this eyelash curler down to the bottom of your lashes, just as far close to the base as you can get without pinching your lid, and then lift your elbow and hold the eyelash curler there for 5 seconds, and then gradually stair-step up your lashes, holding it for 5 seconds each time till you get to the end of your lashes, you can greatly increase the amount of volume to your lashes the look of volume and increase the curl. Makes a huge difference. So there are a lot of mascaras that don't work for me. What I choose to use is by a company called Tarte, and this mascara is called Lights Camera Lashes. And what I do is just take it and wiggle it up from the very bottom to the top. And really, black mascara is fine for almost all of us to use unless you're just extremely light. And in that case, I would recommend brown mascara. So that's the conclusion of the 5 steps I chose to use to tweak my makeup routine. The most important thing to me was trying to step outside my comfort zone a little bit and use a more colorful eyeshadow. So you can see that it's certainly different from what I was wearing initially, but I'm kind of enjoying experimenting a little bit with my eyeshadow and hope to do some more colorful looks in 2020. I hope this has been helpful to you. If it has, I hope you'll give this video a thumbs up. And please, if you know of someone else who would benefit from some of these steps or who might have fun thinking about it, please feel free to share this video as well. And I hope in the comments section below that you will also write down what you're going to do, what steps you're going to take to tweak your makeup routine in the coming year. Thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate your taking the time to be with us today. And I hope also that you'll tune in the next couple of Thursdays. Our next 2 videos just happen to be on the 5 questions you need to ask to find just the right foundation for you. And the second of those videos about foundation deals with 14 tips on how to actually go about finding that perfect foundation. So please join us for those upcoming videos as well. In the meantime, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day and stay happy and healthy.